Welcome to Gone Outdoors. Kyle Agre and Scott Brewer of Brewer Agre Outdoors, talking hunting, talking fishing, and talking anything you can do outdoors for the next hour. Right here on KWSN 1230 AM, 98.1 FM, and Kello News Talk 1320 AM, 107.9 FM, both out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the mighty 790 KFGO Fargo, 104.7 FM. This morning's Gone Outdoors is brought to you by Ray's Sport and Marine, your local Lund Boats and Bennington Pontoon dealer in Moorhead. RaysMarineMoorhead.com. Adventure RV across from the Fairgrounds in West Fargo, your number one RV dealer in the FM area. AdventureRVSales.com. Are you fishing for a snack or gas in Lakes Country? Lakeland General Store is your one-stop shop in the Lakes area at the junction of Highways 59 and 34 in Dunvilla. Devil's Lake Tourism and Glacial Lake Snow Bear. Linex of Fargo, this is Linex Country, home of the adventurous. Onyx Fish Midwest, Eskimo Ice Fishing Gear, and Ion Electric Ice Augers and the Ion Alpha. We hope that you all had a very Merry Christmas. We hope you all had time to spend with family and loved ones. We hope you had time to reflect on the real reason for this season. And it's great to be back here again after the holiday, Scott. Here we are. It is the last weekend, the last Gone Outdoors of 2025.
Yes, and it's been a great year. When we got on the Lund Pro staff, I got to do an interview. It was an online interview, like 20 questions type thing about you. And one of the questions had something to do with how you enjoyed that last year. And my answer then, it's the same as it is now. Every year is better than the next because we know the things that we don't like and we don't repeat them. We know the things we do like and we do more of them. So every year should be better than the last. And this year was a good year.
Most of the mistakes we don't repeat. I'm not going to say I'm perfect in that category, but we do our very, very best.
Yes.
Sometimes some of that ignorance comes through, but we always are moving forward and looking forward. And in all honesty, folks, we are so happy that you tuned in this morning. We're so happy you've tuned in every single time you join us here on Gone Outdoors. There's so many of you that do each and every week, whether it be on the air or listening to our podcasts. And we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here talking about the things we love to do and sharing those experiences and learning alongside of you if it weren't for the fact that you're listening. So thank you for that.
Yes, sir. We if you ever run into us somewhere, we will come across very, very adamant about how thankful we are of our listeners, because we know if we didn't have listeners, we wouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yep.
So we appreciate all you listeners. We appreciate you. If you have it on in your car, we appreciate you if you have a podcast, if you follow us on podcasts, because that means that's something that you really try to make sure that you're, it's like appointment radio at that point. You listen to Derek Hansen, he talks about appointment radio. Hopefully we're appointment radio for a lot of you, and hopefully we're giving you some information that maybe we can spur a new outdoor passion in your life.
Hey, speaking of podcasts, we've dabbled just a little bit. Historically here on Gone Outdoors, we've podcasted each one of the segments of our weekly show separately, individually as a 9-10 minute segment. And more recently, just the last couple of weeks, we've actually put that podcast up as an entire program. So all of our 4 segments that we do each week on Gone Outdoors, all together, really hit play and listen to the entire show. And we're curious what you think. Quite honestly, if you listen to the podcast, shoot us a message and let us know. If you've got a preference one way or the other, we'd love to hear it. And we're looking to what's going to be best for 2026 and beyond. And if it's throwing the whole show up there together, make it easier to listen, we certainly want to do that.
Yep. We are very adaptable. We can adapt to whatever you guys really want. And we're hoping this is what you want, because a lot of people listen to podcasts, you pick almost any podcasts are going to be an hour long or 2 hours long. They're much longer than our 10-minute segments, but you put all four together and now you're getting closer to an hour. You're down to a 40-minute show, which is pretty good. Kyle, since it is the end of the year, we could sit here and talk about all the things that we had going on last year. But like we traditionally do with Gone Outdoors, we're always looking a season ahead because, what's next, what's coming up next, because we want to be ready. And it's a little bit early for us. The next outdoor season is going to be spring fishing and turkey hunting. And it's probably a little bit early for that. But there is a lot of other things that we have to look forward to coming up.
Yeah, there is. In fact, we've got some dates to put on the calendar, and we'd love to see all of our listeners out at these events and really taking advantage of all these things that, hey, there are opportunities here in the upper Midwest during this time of the year, and it's fun to get out and socialize, enjoy the outdoors. And in some instances, we talk about the outdoors. Some instances, we're actually out doing it, Scott.
Yeah, we certainly are. And so one of these events I got listed on here is the Fargo Boat Show, which is coming up here less than a month from right now. And it's hard to believe, less than a month, we're going to be out there talking summer fishing, talking boats, talking everything summer. That's coming up very soon. You want to make sure you get that put on your calendar. Fargo Boat Show is January 24th through the 26th at the Fargo Dome. Both Kyle and I will be there, and hopefully you, our listeners, can come too. And make sure you tell us you're a listener while you're there. We sure would appreciate it.
Yep. And we got a few other events coming up. We've talked about the Brainerd Ice Fishing Extravaganza. Certainly, we don't want anybody to miss out on that. January 31st, that's going to be a great opportunity. If you're headed that way, headed east over to Brainerd for that event, you haven't bought your tickets yet, use code BA Outdoors for a discount, $5 off of those tickets. And make sure you get that weekend planned. We are doing some Lake Winnipeg seminars. This has been an annual thing, Scott, for 15, 16 years now. And we share some of our experiences and knowledge about making that trip up to Lake Winnipeg. We've got two of them on this year's tour. January 20th at the Fargo Shields and January 21st in the Bismarck Shields. You're going to want to mark your calendars if you're anywhere in the area for either of those and are planning a trip up to Big Windy, because you're going to get a whole lot of information about making that trip successful. And Scott, one other event I want to just make mention of, we'll have some more information as we get a little closer, but Men on Ice, January 30th to February 1st, Red Willow Lake in North Dakota. That's one. Fellowship, Faith, Friends and Fishing, Food and Family. I mean, you name it, it's all there, and definitely worth the time to spend on it. Speaking of spending some time, Scott, we got a great show lined up. Pat Kalmerton, he's going to talk a little bit about Devil's Lake, the conditions on the ice, and how the bite is going up there. And then we have a really special treat, a couple segments with Jeff, Gussy, Gustafson, Bassmaster Elite Tournament Angler. He's going to talk a little bit about what he does in the off season and what's ahead for the 2026 season. Don't go away, folks. We're going to take a break and be back with more Gone Outdoors.
Looking for somewhere to get all your fishing information in one place? Onyx Fish Midwest has something for you. Search for new fishing areas with filtering features such as species, abundance, trophy potential, lake survey info, regulations, and area insights are just a click away.
Getting to your target lake has never been easier with access points and public land ownership clearly marked on Onyx Fish. Mark and customize waypoints and weather for your exact location. Use code BA Outdoors to get 20% off Onyx Fish Midwest at onyxmaps.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Gone Outdoor Radio. You're listening on Kello News Talk or KWSN in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or the mighty 790 in Fargo Moorhead. Scotty Brewer, Kyle Agre, Brewer Agre Outdoors. And this next gentleman, Kyle, I don't think he has ever been on Gone Outdoors. Hard to believe after 10 years.
Well, we know that we've been missing, and now we have completed the circle.
Yes, we certainly have. We're going to talk with Pat Kalmerton. He works with Devil's Lake Tourism. He actually is a fish head from all over the place. Pat, welcome to Gone Outdoors.
Hey, gentlemen, thanks for having me. Greatly appreciate it. You're right. It's finally here. Finally time to join the Cool Kid Club. So I greatly appreciate it, fellas.
How was your Christmas, by the way? Did Santa bring you some nice toys, or do you
Of
already
course
have
he did.
all of the nice toys?
Well, I have a lot of the nice toys, but Mama brought me a trip down to the Dominican Republic to soak my my toes in the sand a little bit. So it's one of them things where Christmas was extremely good to me this year. You know, of course, I could never have too many toys for the outdoor industry and outdoor world. So life is good.
Pat, I don't know what you did to get on the nice list, but man, oh man, I need to take some lessons.
Well, you know, I'm gone too much, fellas. I'm always out playing anywhere and everywhere. So Mama just assumes that I'm, you know, she feels sorry for me for never being home. So she buys me all this fancy stuff. It's great.
She sounds like a keeper. She sounds like a keeper. Don't
she is best catch ever.
Yep.
Best catch ever. Absolutely.
All right, Pat. We wanted to talk. We didn't want to talk about your marital status. We did want to talk about Devil's Lake Basin. So, how is the ice doing up on Devil's Lake right now?
Devil's Lake, the ice is fantastic, guys. It's one of them where you got anywhere from 12, 13 inches. It's growing every single day. You know, you got really good ice. Of course, you got some pressure cracks that you have to watch out for. All of the public landings are no snow drifts, no nothing like that. Out on the main lake or out on the basin, you got a couple of snow drifts, so you have to be careful on where you're traveling as far as burying your vehicle or sled or whatever that your transportation needs are. But everything is really good. You know, we have solid ice all over the place. You got really good travel all over the place. Fishing is fantastic right now. The walleyes are going crazy. There's, a couple of 2-pound perch that are showing up all over the place. So fishing is really good. The travel is really good. The ice is really good. All the, all the local boat landings and everything else are well and clear, and everybody that's doing it on your own can get out. The guides are running full bore. So,
hey Pat,
yeah,
I got a question for you. For those people that have never been to Devil's Lake and are thinking of going up there, there's one thing that I can think of that they should be aware of, and can be a huge safety issue, and that's current. There is quite a bit of current that goes through there, which everybody knows current creates thinner ice. So where are some of these current areas? What are the things that people need to watch out for if they're out and about?
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure that you watch out for the transition areas. Anywhere that there's bridges going down through, don't think that you're going to go from point A to point B and going under the bridges as far as getting to the next location. Actually put it on the trailer and drive around. Anywhere that you have any real heavy contour change. So if you're, it's kind of like a funnel, right? So if you have deep water and all of a sudden you're getting a pinch point, and it goes, real thin or real shallow on both sides of it, you have a lot of current because there's a lot of water there that's getting pushed into one area. So make sure that you study your maps, make sure that you look at your Onyx. You got a lot of the different areas, especially your transition, your funnel points, stuff like that. So make sure that, you always use caution on the ice, no matter what. Ice is never safe, no matter what. So.
Pat, question. As we watch things freeze up, the month prior here, always it's followed the trend that we've seen before, right? Those lakes north of Highway 2, they're part of the Devil's Lake Basin. They tend to freeze up quicker, and the main basin tends to follow sometime after. By the time we're at where we are right now, is that main basin catching up, or do we still have a discrepancy in ice conditions?
Well, you're always going to have a little bit of thinner ice on the main basin. Your northern lakes or your feeder lakes up north, those are a lot smaller. They don't have all the wind that's hitting them. A lot more current wind, everything else, if you will, out of the main basin. Now, with that being said, we are looking really good as far as ice. What I've been seeing, what other people have been seeing, and what the main talk is, you use a lot of caution around pressure cracks and stuff like that. But the main basin, I mean, we're sitting anywhere from that, just, 10 to 15, depending on where you're at. And it's pretty consistent all over the place. So it's been really good.
Hey, Pat, we talk about those feeder lakes, the lakes up there on the North Basin. Those tend to get a lot of action right away because they do freeze up a little bit earlier. And it seems like a lot of people target walleyes, but I do believe that there's some perch in there too. And everybody thinks the big perch are always out in the main basin on Devil's Lake, but I think there's some nice perch up in those northern lakes too. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Earlier and later in the season. So when you're around that first ice low, right now we're concentrating that 10-foot. I mean, we're finding the flats off of the main basin, right? So not the shoreline 10-foot, but if we're finding 10-foot flats out in the middle of the lake, that's where we're finding our perch, and even up there, So it's one of them where when you get up there and you're out and about and you're traveling around and you're finding those secondary flats, things like that, where you can actually get into a little bit deeper water, but not the deepest water, right? So when people think about Devil's Lake and they think about the northern lakes and the feeder lakes and things like that, early in the season like this, where I call it early season, before January 15th. That's what I kind of call early season. So when I'm thinking about early season, I'm concentrating on those northern lakes, and then once it starts getting into the mid season, from that January 15th to about February 30th or whatever, then I'm looking at that main basin. I'm looking at that deeper water. Those fish are going to become a little bit more lethargic. They're going to kind of, scoot down in the water column a little bit, making sure that they're finding a little bit more stable water. And then also right now we're chasing those perch and walleyes. I mean, buckshot with a little bit heavier hook on there, and just a minnow head for an attractor. And a lot of times people are over jigging, to be honest with you. And you hear it from the guides out there that fish all the time, and just having that. One thing that I did learn is a lot of times people are over jig, right? So they'll really try to entice these fish where they just like it a little bit more dead, a little bit more lethargic, just kind of sitting there, put it in front of their face, let them sniff it, and they'll eat it.
That's a great tip. All right, Pat, we got to finish up here. We got about 30 seconds left. Can you get out the information, the website for Devil's Lake Tourism, for anybody that's never been there and they want to figure out lodging, if they want to figure out maps, all that kind of stuff? Where can they go?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go visit devilslake.com, and when you get over to that website, there's a lot of the different tabs and a lot of different pages that you can go to. You can get all the guides, all the lodging, fishing reports. There's a blog report. If you go to the Facebook page over at Visit Devil's Lake, there is a live fishing report that goes out every Wednesday all year long. And we talk to the different guides, and they have different videos and different techniques and different tips. And so just look for anything with Visit Devil's Lake, and it'll all pop up for you.
Perfect. This is Pat Kalmerton, Devil's Lake Tourism. Thanks for coming on Gone Outdoors.
No, I appreciate it.
Stick around. We'll be back with the second half of today's Gone Outdoors after this short break.
Experience unrivaled power with the Ion Alpha Ice Auger. Choose from the Steel Bit Alpha or the Ultralight Alpha Plus.
Available in 1 or 2 battery configurations, the 8-inch model cuts an incredible 1,200 inches of ice on a single charge, blazing through at 3.4 inches per second. The 10-inch model drills 1,200 inches at 2.2 inches per second. It's called the Alpha for a reason.
Find yours at your local retailer or visit ioniceaugers.com. Welcome back to the second half of this morning's Gone Outdoors. Kyle Agre and Scott Brewer of Brewer Agre Outdoors, talking hunting, talking fishing, and talking anything you can do outdoors on Kello News Talk and KWSN in Sioux Falls and the mighty 790 KFGO Fargo. We're excited. We get to welcome a friend of ours back to the show. It's been a little while since we've had him on. He is a Bassmaster Elite Tournament Angler. He is the 2023 Bassmaster Classic Champion. He is Jeff Gustafson. Gussy, welcome back to Gone Outdoors.
Hey, thanks, boys. Yeah, it has been a while. It's been quite a few years, but I feel like I've done the show a few times, and I remember it's probably been like 10 years or more now that I was down and talked. We did a little seminar for some of the guys.
Yep. With FM Walleyes.
But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good to have you. And, you've been gracious enough to give us a little bit of time this morning. We're going to have you for a couple of segments if that still works out. And I kind of wanted to just, Scott and I do a lot with student anglers. We do a lot with, some of the activities with FM Walleyes and some of the other organizations locally here in Fargo-Moorhead. And when you get talking on the topic of anglers who fish at the highest levels of tournament competition, one of the questions that always comes out is, is it a year-round gig? What do they do when they're not at tournaments in the off season? And I just thought no better person than you to give us a picture of what that's like when you're not out on the trail. And what's the rest of your time and the rest of your life look like?
Yeah. So I feel pretty lucky every day to get to do what I do. And my main gig is fishing the Bassmaster Elite Series. And it's 9 tournaments, 10 if you qualify for the Classic every year. And it starts like in 2026, it actually starts in February and it ends in Alabama and it ends in August out in New York. So we kind of go all over the country. And it's, like I say, a pretty big project. But I love getting to be, I don't live in a very convenient place. I live on the North Shore Lake of the Woods up in Kenora, Ontario. And it's not the most convenient place for traveling to fish for bass, but I do love it up here, and that's why I never leave, just because it's if you like being outdoors, fishing and hunting, it's an awesome place. And yeah, like I had my worst season I've ever had. It was my 14th year last year doing it, and just got off to a kind of a bad start, and it was sort of a battle all year. I had a little better last few tournaments to finish it off. So hopefully we'll get a better start this year. But I spent a ton of time in the boat this fall. Really all I feel like I can do to work on my game, and did a bunch of fishing, fished some bass tournaments up around home, and just spend a bunch of time in the boat right really until it froze. And then I, do a little bit of hunting, did some deer hunting. For the last 20 years, my buddies and I usually go up north, about 3 hours north of Kenora, to the Red Lake area and moose hunt. And we always go for the last week of the season, take snowmobiles, and it's just it's not real busy. It's and it's big country, so you can it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's rough country. We're traveling on logging roads and clear cuts and on the ice a little bit. But this year, my buddies and I, no one got any tags. It's a draw for tags, and usually we get a few amongst their 7 or 8 of us. But my wife, Shelby, got a cow tag, so that was all we had to go with. And a couple of my other buddies went along, and we ended up getting a cow. We went up for 4 days, and the last day we got one, and it was awesome. And she just got her hunting credentials a couple of years ago, so she's kind of new to it. And it was awesome to get to experience with her. And the moose meat is so good to eat. We love it, and that's the main. It's sort of more of a meat trip than necessarily trying to get a big bull. I always apply for bull tags, and they're a little bit tougher to get just because more people are applying for them. But yeah, the moose are just they're really cool animals, and they're big, and it's fun.
Yeah, and it sounds like if you want to go out and hunt for meat, moose is a perfect option to do so, because man, you get a lot of meat off of it. So Jeff, I'm sure that you're working on doing some preparations for next season. That's got to pretty much go the entire year, doesn't it?
It does, and it's I don't have a real job, like a Monday to Friday job, and just if if you're going to sort of chase the tournament scene, it's tough because you got to put a lot of time into it if you want to, especially if you want to, be successful. And so yeah, it's a lot of like you're working on tackle and prepping your gear and organizing your gear. Like when I started, I would bring every bit of tackle I had, and anymore it slows you down and you don't know where things are. And I learned, like, I carried stuff for years that I would never use. So anymore, it's pretty easy to get stuff, within a day or two if you really need something while you're on the road. But so I try and just like have my equipment and tackle, especially like organized as well as I can. And but yeah, that takes some time. I just picked up my new boat, a Lund 2075 Pro V Bass last week. So I'll start picking away on that here in the next few days and start getting that ready to go. And then our season starts the first week of February. So I like to get down south and get the boat in the water and get at least a week of fishing in, just to get the boat broke in and get warmed up and just get back into it, But yeah, the sponsors are important for me. So like it's a job to kind of maintain all the expectations that they have, from social media to appearances to writing jobs to year-end reports and quarterly reports. It's just there's a lot that goes into it. It is a job, and yeah, you got to make sure you keep everybody happy.
Absolutely. And speaking, we're going to have time to repeat this again, Jeff, but if people want to follow you on social media, what are they looking for? Where do they want to go to get kind of the ins and outs of what's happening in your professional life?
Yeah, I kind of like share my story as I go and, all the different things that I'm doing, but I'm Instagram and Facebook, and I'm pretty easy to find, but Gussy Outdoors on Instagram and Jeff Gustafson on Facebook. And, yeah, I get messages from people every day and I answer them all. And so, yeah, people have questions about fishing, especially if you want to come on a trip, man, in the summer or even in the winter. Like, we have phenomenal ice fishing up here in Sunset Country. And, yeah, if you want to come up on a trip, like, I'm buddies with all kinds of resort owners, and I've worked at literally dozens of the resorts growing up over the years. And I'm always happy to point people in the right direction on that kind of stuff.
I love that. And folks, if you're listening to Gone Outdoors this morning, that's a genuine and sincere invitation. We've known Jeff for a number of years, working together on the Lund team, and he is just the genuine article, and truly does take that time to respond to those messages. And he is very well connected up there in Sunset Country. So that is the genuine invitation as pure and honest as you can get. So we appreciate that. And if someone's never been up there, boy, oh boy, that's got to be on the bucket list. Honestly, what a place to visit, both the beauty and the fishing that's in that area. Jeff, I know we had talked, and you said you'd be willing to stick around for another segment. Is that still going to work out?
That sounds great. Yeah, that's easy.
Well, folks, we've got Jeff Gustafson with us this morning. We're going to take a quick break now. We'll return with more conversations with Jeff after this quick break.
The all-new Eskimo Outbreak XDP shelter gives you the same great fishable space as the original Outbreak, but packs down up to a foot shorter for easier transport.
Available in multiple sizes, the XDP features dual heat ports, giant windows, and an oversized carry bag. Whether you're camping for the weekend or fishing for the afternoon, the Outbreak XDP has everything you need for an enjoyable time on the ice.
Check out the all-new Outbreak XDP at geteskimo.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to Gone Outdoor Radio. You're listening to Kello News Talk, or KWSN, in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or the mighty 790 in Fargo, Moorhead, and surrounding community. Scotty Brewer, Kyle Agre, Brewer Agre Outdoors. And last segment, if you heard, we had Jeff Gustafson. He is a Bassmaster Elite Tournament Angler. He does some little bit of guiding. He does a little bit of outfitting. He does a little bit of everything. Anything that has anything to do with fishing, pretty much Jeff does it, and he's probably one of the best bass anglers in North America. So we're going to have Jeff on again on this segment. Jeff, welcome back to Gone Outdoors.
Hey boys. Yeah, no, it's, I do, bass fishing's kind of my passion. In the tournament stuff, just competitive guy, but, when I'm at home now, ice season's here, so I'm going to spend a bunch of time on the ice over the next 3 weeks. And I'm kind of like spoiled a bit because I get to pick my days. Like, so I'm not a shack guy really. Like if I have to go sit in the shack, when I was guiding all the time, like that's fine, but I don't like fishing a hole for more than about 5 minutes if I don't catch one. So I like to stay on the move and pick those days when the wind's not blowing to get out there. But I'm like, I was telling you guys earlier, like a 10-minute snowmobile ride from my house and I can catch walleyes and perch and crappies, lake trout, big pike in the spring. But yeah, it makes it easy definitely to get out there and catch some fish.
So Jeff, I noticed when you just named off all those fish, you never said bass, not once.
Yeah.
You don't ice fish for smallmouth?
No, and I'm kind of against it a little bit just because they almost go into a hibernation mode in the winter, and you can catch them. You get on top of them, they'll bite. You shake a little spoon in their face, but like part of the reason why the fishing is so good in the fall and in the spring right after the ice goes out is they don't eat a lot during the winter, so they bulk up a lot of energy in the fall. And I don't know, just talking to some of my biologist friends, like if you catch them in January, it's hard to say. Like these guys say that it's not awesome for them just because they burn a lot of their energy when you fight them. And, but you definitely see like in March, like once the snow goes off the ice, like that's my favorite time to be out on the ice, that late season. And we're allowed to fish up here until, walleye season stays open till April 15th, and crappies is wide open, pike is wide open. So there's always fish to catch, but you'll run into the bass like late when the snow melts, and like you can tell they're definitely getting more aggressive. Like they're starting to swim up and meet your bait and move forward a lot more. Like they know, I think, when that light starts hitting them that it's close again. It's almost time. But yeah, I don't. And to be honest, I fish for bass for most of the year. And when I'm home ice fishing, it's sort of more of my, I want to catch walleyes and trout and some of the other fish.
You got to balance out your scorecard, right? I mean, you got 12 months to work with. You got to balance it out. Hey, let's, Jeff, while we have you, let's look ahead to the upcoming Bassmaster Elite Series season for 2026. Yep. What are the destinations you're looking forward to? What are the ones you're going to see as maybe most challenging?
So if for those of you that follow the bass fishing stuff, you kind of know this already, but like in the last couple of years, the landscape has changed a lot. Our sport's getting dominated by youngsters. 19, 20, 25-year-olds are coming on to the like pro tours and like dominating. It's unbelievable. And it's very impressive. And part of that's the electronics, and they're good at using the forward sonar. And part of it's just, high school fishing, college fishing's gotten so big. So these guys they already have a lot of experience. They've been to a lot of the fisheries that the big tournaments go to. And it's made me for sure, like I got to up my game and be better. So, but one of the changes for the Elite Series this year is we're going to have half our tournaments where you can use forward sonar and half that you can't. So it's kind of a good compromise, and it'll be interesting to see how things shake out. I think a lot of people will be surprised that a lot of these young guys are still going to catch them even without the scope. And I think they're better than a lot of these guys think. And it's going to be fun to watch. But as for me, I mean, we're ending the season out in New York at Lake Champlain and the St. Lawrence River. And those are two of the best smallmouth fisheries in the world. I've got to go fish those places a bunch of times over the years, and they're fun. We're starting at Lake Gunnersville in Alabama. It's sort of a legendary fishery, for tournament anglers, and it's there's going to be some big catches there. It's going to be still cold in February in Alabama, so it's probably not going to be real easy fishing, but there'll be big ones. There'll be big weights, and we're going to a few. I think there's 3 places that this is going to be my 15th season, fishing like tour level events, and I've been all over the place, but we actually have 3 stops this year that I've never been to, so that's kind of always exciting and fun. And sometimes you go back to places that you've been, and maybe if you've had success, it's so hard to not, try and duplicate what worked in the past. But the one thing I've learned, those southern reservoirs, they're just different every year, where up north in our part of the world, a good spot's usually good year after year, unless it just gets too much pressure. Things can change, but most of the fisheries in the south are reservoirs, and water levels change and clarity, and it's sometimes good to have a fresh slate when you go for these events. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the season and getting back after it for sure.
So Jeff, the Bass Elite Series, they're very good with their advertising, or with their, they have live videos. They got camera guys in plenty of the boats.
Yeah.
Where can people follow along if they want to follow along with the Bass Elite Series? Where can they do that at?
So Bassmaster.com, you can get a lot of info on there. You can watch a lot of video on there. On the weekends of our events, the Bassmaster Live is on Fox Sports. So it's easy to watch, and relatively easy to find. But if you type Bassmaster and on Google, you'll find the Bassmaster website pretty easy, and there's tons of video on there. Past events, you can watch them all on YouTube, and if you want to learn about bass fishing, it's as good a place to learn as any, watching these guys tackle all the different fisheries that we go to.
These guys, you notice you said these guys, you mean guys like Jeff?
I've been pretty fortunate. I've had a pretty good career, but I had a tough year last year, and it's actually my first time. I did not qualify for the Bassmaster Classic, and it's a bit of a heartbreaker because it's in March, and it's at the Tennessee River in Knoxville, Tennessee, and that's where I won it in 2023. So we've actually had 2 tournaments there, and I don't know what it is about this place, but it's been really good to me. I won both events there, and I have to sit this one out. So it's tough, but it's motivating to just get off to a better start this year and make sure I don't miss it again and get back to it. But
all right, Jeff, we really appreciate you coming on Gone Outdoors, and we hope you have a great season this year.
Okay, boys. Yeah, back at you. Catch lots of big ones, and keep us all entertained.
Special thanks to our Gone Outdoors show sponsors: Ray Sport Marine, Adventure RV, Lakeland General Store, Devils Lake Tourism, Linex of Fargo, Onyx Fish Midwest, Ion Alpha, and Glacial Lake Snow Bear. Thank you for tuning to today's Gone Outdoor Radio. Follow along when you're on the ice or in the field with Gone Outdoor Podcasts. KFGO.com, KWSN.com, KELO.com, Apple Podcasts, or on Spotify. Visit us at breweragreoutdoors.com and follow us on social media. Until next week, from Scotty and Kyle, we'll be Gone Outdoors.